the key things to remember when you're not working on a row, which what's happening here? Something's still attached. Hold on. When you're working on a row or creating a border on a row that isn't, for instance, an equal row, or has stitch heads because you're working into the side of a stitch rather than into the stitch head. So for instance, when I've brought this together here, I've got to sew all this in yet, so it's not particularly neat. Look at all these things. Wow, my pet hate. Love making things, hate sewing. Anybody that loves it, come and get it. It's like my ironing. So what I've had to do, I've had to double crochet the edge first, because I need an equal edge to work into in order to create my double crochet, which is there. I know it's a bit messy because of all the bits. So when you come to your panels and you've got to work in the sides to kind of make them equal, one of the things you need to do is you need to make a count of the stitches that are here, and then when you're working in your panel, neatening it up with a double crochet, you need to try and make sure that you are corresponding those stitch heads to these stitch heads, so it's easy for you to then work in. Because what can happen is it can get really messy. Now I've just had the situation where I've over double crocheted on one side of my panel, and on the other side I haven't got so many. So when it came to lining it up, it was like, okay, well how is that longer when it's, you know, all those kind of problems. So what you need to do is make sure you are doing your own personal stitch count. Now I can tell you what's on this one, but yours may differ to mine. For you might have added an extra stitch, whatever. So what I want you to understand is to modify it to your specific make. So look at your panel, and when you come to attaching your panel, for instance here, these were treble front posts. I've just done a double crochet into it to keep it uniform, and you can see that it's not pulling too tight because it's just a structural element rather than a row as such. There, it's just for me to then work back into. So if you do one side, it must correspond to the side that you're going to be working back into it with. So count your stitches, make a note of when you're doing it how many stitches you're doing, so you can copy the same and do the same that side. So double crochet your panels either side to neaten them up, so you've got an edge to work into. And then what I'm going to show you now is how to do to bring those two sides together using the double crochet join. Then from there, what I want you to do is, if you're still stuck with what I'm showing you next, go onto my YouTube channel and have a look at some of our master and how-to tips, because in there are some tips on how to cluster together. Okay, so I'm just turning my work so I can work in the direction that my stitches will go in. Again, with your granny square, make sure you're not working down and down to the point. Work from the point 8, and it'll be much easier for you to line it up, because you can always fluff these bits and make them neat, as I say. So I'm going to do mine with birch. Yours will be the green or the grass. This was part of my test piece, which is now becoming a cardigan. So find your corner space, la la la. Get your wool nice and comfortable in your hand, make sure you're anchoring, and bring it to the back of where you're working, and then just pull through. I'm just going to pull through 2 times, because even though it's we've got the anchoring point here, we need to do, if you can hear any decorating or scratching in the background, we've got a leak in our bathroom. So I can't always not video when things are going on, because that would be virtually impossible in my house. So just do two chains as such, just to give you so you can just leverage it over. And then with the 2 V's, so each, if you look at your stitch heads, when we look from above, we can see they look similar to a chain stitch on either side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the back loop of the front piece facing us, and then we're going to take it from the back piece that's facing us. So back loops on both, and then just double crochet. So if that was your granny square, you'd have your panel here, and then you'd work like that. Okay, I just absolutely love this granny square. I really do. I'm itching to finish this so I can start something else, even though I'm knitting something else as well. and then we just go through those back loops like so. So let's get a little bit closer so you can see. There we go. Both of the back loops. Take your time. Now, if you wanted to do it so you couldn't see, like if you were making a piece of clothing and you didn't want to see the raised edge because it's not part of your design, just do this on the reverse, so when you turn it over you don't see this at all, it becomes invisible. There you go, and you just keep going until you meet where you want. When you get to the stage where you finish that row, just do a slip stitch into the area which is maybe the corner or the finishing part or the junction, whichever. So I would class this as a junction, so let me bring this over, it's quite big, sorry. And I just slip stitch into there just to finish it off, because I don't really want a double crochet there. I want it to be a little bit smaller so I can work into it. So that's actually my sleeve. Let's pull it out a bit. So this was a test piece that I did on holiday to do some videos for TikTok based on the stitches we're using in the blanket, and it was supposed to be a scarf and a hood. It didn't work out. It wasn't flowing, or not flowing, I can't think of the word for fabric when you want it to ruche. It just wasn't sitting right anyway, and I was really disappointed because I did actually really enjoy making it, and in my head it was all going perfectly well. When I came to make it, I probably should have done it on a larger hook to give the fabric a little bit more, the wool a little bit more movement, a bit looser, so it could drape. That's the word, drape. But then all of a sudden, I've been doing hexagon cardigans, so maybe that's why I've been able to suddenly see something that I've made that I was a little bit heartbroken over, to be honest. And it's just come together. So I'm hoping that from something that went wrong, I've just found another way to use it. So let's see. I'm thinking about a plain side on the other side. So this is full of like colour and design, and then maybe a plain half to the other side with some granny squares in it. I don't know, it's a bit wacky, but you know, sometimes you've got to do something wacky. Anyway, carry on with your double crochet across, and then we'll come to do our border, because I'm going to do a border on this to lengthen it out. So you can work with me on this next project, but with keeping it in mind for your blanket. So the stitch I'm going to show you now is on row 8 of our border. So I've written everything else in. I've done the double crochet. So the border that I'm going to do now is row 8, and I'm going to show you how to do this stitch that I don't even know the name of. It's a little bit like a decrease, but it's not. So I've done a double crochet, starting chain 2, and then a double crochet into the corner. Then I'm going to do another double crochet here. Oops, hang on a second. Let me say that again. So I'm going to do what looks like a double crochet there, and then I'm going to go in there and do what looks like a double crochet there. So I have 3 loops, but I'm going through 2. Let's bring this down a little bit more, into 2 stitch spaces. Then I'm going to yarn all the way through. So basically I've stretched out my double crochet. I'm going to go back into that last stitch that we used and repeat that same action. So I'm kind of overlapping, like so. Now the texture that I want is actually here on the back. So I've asked you to turn to the wrong side. So wrong side of your work facing out, and work from the back side, so you get this lovely texture. I'm just using this granny square as a tester piece to show you how to work. So it doesn't really matter whether I'm on the right or wrong side, but for your pattern you need to have the wrong side facing out or towards you. So take your hook through, pull through once, go through the next stitch head, pull through again, and then go through all 3. So I suppose it's like a stretched out half treble really, but you're always overlapping by going into that last stitch again, and it just creates this lovely knotted feature. It's really nice for borders. If you have it facing you, it gives a nice knotted, flat, like kind of stiff border, which works really well. Excuse me. Which works really well when if you want to just do a simple border, but you just want something that with a little bit of substance and a little bit of resistance, so that it can take a bit of a battering, especially like when it's baby blankets. When children grow up with their blankets, they tend to, you know, hold the sides and, you know, run them between their fingers, so they need something a little bit, you know, with a little bit of substance to them, as I keep saying. I can't think of any words this week, I don't know what's wrong with me. So yeah, so that's that stitch. I have no clue what the name is for it. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube and you go, well, I know what it is, please tell me, because it would make my brain less taxing. I have seen other methods where they do another loop, but I actually like just doing it this way, like a half treble where you go all the way through. So we're doing 2 rows of that, I believe, according to my pattern. So we'll do this in the biscuit colour, and we'll be doing 2 rows going round, and then we'll get to our final border, which is a little bit tricky, but it's a really simple stitch. It's just a little bit fiddly in the way that you kind of master your hook, but it's really simple. So when you get to doing the big blanket, you will get to a point where you go, Michelle, why did you give me this border to do this long border on this huge blanket? But when it's finished, you'll really love it. I know you will. So I'll come back to that shortly. I'll just finish this little bit. I might even frog it back, and then we'll just work directly onto the board. Hi, right, okay. So heads up, I've just paused the video and unpaused it. I do have a little visitor in here with me with tippy tappy toes. I say little, he's a husky, so if he makes any weird noises, it wasn't me, it was the dog. So what I've been doing is a twisted double crochet border. So you start your corner the same as we do the starting chain 2, chain 2, double crochet, and then we start working this way. So it's a really simple border. Does take a bit of time. Have a practice on a swatch if you need to. So let's begin. Go through your stitch head as normal. Pull through as normal, but this time I want you to kind of angle your hook up a little bit so you've got a little bit more on your hook than normal. I use my thumb. You can pull it up a bit more if you want. It's not going to hurt. This is a border, so. And then you twist your hook around like so. Pick up your border. Now I've let go to allow the loop to kind of loosen, and this is the bit that can be a bit tricky because you can split your wool and you get this twist. So let's do another one. Pull your wool through, lift it up a little bit. You don't mind that little bit of extra wool because obviously that's part of the stitch, and it's easy to work through. And you can see how you get this lovely raised edge motif. It's really simple. The key is to, let's do it again, is to not keep your wool like you would if you were doing a normal double crochet. Pull it up a little bit. You need a little bit of height on it, and then twist it, and then pull through slowly, and then you can just go back in, do the same again, lift it up a bit more. If you're worried where it needs to be lifted, I'll use my thumb as a gauge, and then I twist it there, and then I allow it to open up by pushing it down a bit more. Now I can see that I'm going to get a split there if I'm not careful. You can see how you get this lovely edge. Really simple. Now this looks a little bit different to that one, not because it is, just because I did a row of the same colour beforehand in half treble, so it allows it to look a little bit thicker. So you'll have 2 rows of this colour. First will be the half treble, then your double twisted crochet there. That's all going to be written into the pattern. This video is going to be edited as it is because I don't edit that much when it comes to what's in the video. You get what you get with me, my ramblings and everything. But that is the final chapter. It's done. We did it. I just need to get it on. I've got how many hours? What time is it now? Don't look how dirty my iPhone watch is got. So yeah, so it's 5:10. Can you hear the tippy toes? He thinks he's going to get fed. It's half an hour before he gets fed. We're nearly at 2024 and I'm on a race to do this. So we're there. We're getting there, guys, and you will have everything to keep you going. Don't forget, you can still buy the kits from the shop. We can still put them together. We can put different colourways together as well. So there you go. See you soon. Bye.